final podcast this semester. We're here at the Solano Community College TV studio, where I'm your host for the final time, Josh Mojica, alongside my group mates Jared Burkett, Manuel Blue, and Ryan Irwin. And today, we will be talking about or summing things up that we learned from this class the entire semester. First things first are different aspects we've learned. Second is how this class changed on how we work as a group. And lastly, our key takeaways that we will be taking with us after this class. So, let's get started.
I think one of the biggest things I learned from this class is that communication isn't really just about talking, it's about being mutually understood. A lot of arguments start just based off of one person not understanding the other person's meaning or intent behind the conversation or a word, or different cultures clashing over values that they don't understand from each other. I think this class has given me the ability to help give the other group, or not opponent, for say, like the other people, the benefit of the doubt to more properly understand them when it comes to conversating with customers, even my boss, or even my parents. Do you guys, what else have you guys learned from this class?
I think the nonverbal thing is a huge thing because we learned about it when we did our first podcast together, which I did not know about this. The nonverbal makes up about 90% of communication amongst people in the world. So I think I've learned a lot about that since being in this class, and I feel like I'm going to take a lot of that with me when I leave this class because it's really important. And like I said before, I didn't really know that was, I didn't really know how to read body language that well, and I feel like since taking this class, I've learned that there's so much more than just communicating like regularly.
For me, I think one of the things, the importance of like vocal projection. I think for that, being able to get your voice out there and be heard, I feel like that also, if you can convey your voice out there, it draws in your audience and you're able to effectively communicate with them. And also, non-verbally, like if you're positioned towards them, because obviously that affects like your vocal projection versus like if I'm talking to somebody behind me and I'm not facing them or something like that. So I think that was for me something I learned, because obviously I've talked to people since I was a kid, but never knew the importance of vocal projection and broadcasting your voice to be able to be heard and your message read loud and clear.
Speaking of nonverbal, for me, I think it was when we did our very first podcast when I shared to our audience about some of the key phrases or terms that one communication major should know, which is oculesics, haptics, and kinesics, stuff like that. And yeah, it's really important for a person, especially a communication major, that to know those kinds of things. And also what you said when we are texting, stuff like that. Because when we apply, not really apply nonverbal, but when we are texting people, like for example, two of us are texting, and of course we're not seeing each other, and I don't know what you're feeling right now, and you don't know what I'm feeling right now. And the use of punctuation marks is really important, which most of us, if not all of us, tend to forget to put or use punctuation marks in text. So therefore, it could lead to conflicts. And speaking of conflicts, second thing that I really thought about is the conflict resolution that we learned from this class. There's 5 of them. There's competing, collaborating, avoiding, compromising, as well as accommodating. And I don't know if you guys remember, but there's one questionnaire or test on Canvas that we have to take, and it will show you the results of what kind of animal you are with that. So we gotta say that, because in my case, I remember I was a fox, if not a fox or turtle.
I was a teddy bear, which is accommodating.
Oh, teddy bear, accommodating.
I was a teddy bear the first time, then I did it again, and I was a lion. So
I was a teddy bear.
And I think the most common thing was either
I think it was teddy bear.
shark or teddy bear.
I think it was teddy bear.
Yeah.
It was number 1, and then
somebody was a shark.
Somebody
It
was a shark.
like
Oh,
one
okay,
person.
somebody was a shark. Like
yeah,
one,
but I think the majority was teddy bear. Because I think most people, like in general, are like non-confrontational. Like they don't want the conflict. Like rather just okay, like
Yeah.
how do you say it? They rather like give up something to get something. Like, you know, I'm not gonna like argue with you, so I'll make the sacrifice and be like, okay, like go along with it, and then hopefully we can come together at some point and work this out. Like,
Yeah,
Because it's just wasted energy.
I feel the
It's-
same
it's-
way.
Another concept I took away from this class is shared meaning.
Mm.
It's pretty much, it's basically how much a person understands what you're saying. Because for the most part, most people, after you talk, only understand a fraction of what you actually meant. It's called shared understanding. Do you guys have you guys had any like run-ins with family members, people at work, where you say one thing and they interpret it totally wrong?
Yeah.
A lot of times, I would say.
I think
Yeah.
texting is the biggest thing because, kind of what we were talking about before. When you text somebody, they might not know how you're saying it. They might know what you're saying, but they might not know how you're saying it, and that sometimes can cause like, you know, if you're texting, you know, your coworker, like, you know, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, like, it can friend, a family, it can come off like if you don't say it right, or you might not even not be saying it right. You just, you know, it's that barrier because you're not actually with them.
Yeah.
And I've had that happen a few times where I've said something and then they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "No, that's not what I meant."
Yeah, the tone. It's hard to tell
Yeah.
the tone, like versus like when you're
Mhm.
texting somebody, like you can't tell. Well, are they mad or are they happy? Like, oh, they put an exclamation point on the end of that. Like, what does that mean? It can be interpreted many different ways. Versus if you were actually like on the phone with them, then you can hear the tone and range of their voice. Oh, okay. When they said that, they were happy. Okay, I'm not gonna interpret it as, oh, I'm in trouble or like they're upset with me. Like for instance, the other day I was texting my friend and I just put K, and they got upset and they're like, well, don't just K me. And I was like, oh, my bad. And I like got a whole paragraph of why I should never use it, just the letter K.
You know what's worse than that to me is not just the single letter K, but the thumbs up. And
Oh,
what's
yeah.
even worse than the thumbs up is you know how you long press the message
Yeah.
and there are those reactions or
There's the
emojis
emojis,
that
yeah,
you
yeah.
can reply. Is that instead of I would accept you guys sending me a thumbs up emoji, but damn, don't like long press my message and react to my message. Like,
Yeah.
come on now.
Just don't say anything.
I feel like one of the main things I took away from this class, though, was the ability to actively listen. Especially, like I said
I like
before,
that.
my parents or bosses. I'm able to sit there and actually interpret what they mean actively rather than overthinking what they're saying and then taking a long time to make a response that will cause more conflict. I feel like I'm able to just kill that little voice in my head, have nothing going on up here, and just responding honestly. And I feel like it's cleared up most confrontation in my life by just being clear and direct with everyone I love.
Yeah, I think being clear and direct is like, this class has taught me a lot about that too,
Yeah.
because I might sometimes, I'm still continuing to like learn how to be a really good communicator. I think like a lot of us are, you know, I mean, some of us might be like A-bomb at it, but for me, I feel like I'm still trying to work on communicating better.
Yeah.
But I do think it's like you're saying, it's really important, and this class has really taught me how to be more direct with somebody, because not every single person understands what you're saying. So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, definitely a work in progress. Like
Yeah.
for me too. Like still trying to learn all the ins and outs of like communication, because like kind of circling back to what you were saying, everybody interprets things differently. So
Mhm.
trying to communicate effectively enough to where there's mutual understanding between like the sender and the receiver.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like it's always gonna be a work in progress, because I don't think anybody's perfect at communicating, but definitely I've seen improvement since the beginning of the semester and to where we are today here.
And just to piggyback off what you said, if we're gonna one more thing is gestures, especially if we're gonna apply that to nonverbal communication. I mean, we're in a diverse community where there are some gestures or hand signals where, to them, with a different cultural background, is something that's negative, but to us, it's just normal. It's just
Yeah.
fine. It's something that we do every day. So, something that we also want to work on to understand and, of course, know if it's gonna be something negative towards them or to us, or is it gonna be a positive thing to them, or vice versa, negative to us. And one thing that I also want to say is the 3 personal goals that we put in, like right before this class. So what are you guys' thoughts? Because for me, one of my personal goals that I've met after this one is being able to work on a group like even better, especially speaking better, like become more articulate. Because speaking in public individually versus speaking as a group is, of course, we all know, is different. Like you have to communicate with your group mates of things that you want to talk about. Unlike if you're individual, you know what you're gonna be on about. Like it's already close. Like okay, this is the topic that I want. These are the body of my own topic. So yeah, what about your guys' personal goals?
I remember my main one was to improve my vocal variety and my stance. Well, since we're sitting all the time, I can't really improve my stance. But vocal variety, I think I've improved. I feel like I'm able to grab the audience's attention well. I feel like I'm able to hold your guys' attention whenever I'm trying to prove a point or citing information, because you can't just talk in the same tone the entire time. You have to be able to like engage actively with your audience, especially with things with like, well, body language, eye contact, gestures, and vocal variety being, in my opinion, the most important is how you actively, not communicate with the audience, but it's how you actively engage your audience. I mean, that's why there's podcasts, audiobooks, and the speaker is not talking in the same tone the entire time. They're using vocal variety to actively engage you with the story.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think one of the biggest things for me was that I took away was the nonverbal. And I kind of mentioned it in the beginning of this podcast too. Just understanding the different variety of different nonverbal communication, because to me, I always thought like it was just the normal, like not paying attention, like you're like slouched, you're not really like, you're trying to, sometimes like one of the things that I learned was, and I actually looked it up too, was people will try to like smoothly change the subject on you in conversation. I don't know if you guys have ever had that happen, but I've had an experience a couple of times where that's happened. And I'm like, after I think to myself, I'm like, man, they really did not care what I was saying. So,
I feel you.
And that's something that I think learning from this class, the different variations and varieties of non-communication that people do, I think that was one of the things that made me like, that I found online about it. So I think that was like the biggest thing for me and what I took.
Yeah. For me, I think becoming a more energetic speaker, that was one of my goals. Like I said, sometimes in the past I've found myself like kind of being like a monotone and not really like giving like different like vocal levels to be able to keep my listener like engaged to what I'm saying. So I think that was one of my main goals like for this semester. And also like I guess using gestures could also like keep people like focused on you, versus if I was just sitting here like, hey guys, like this is what I'm talking about. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
So that was one of my major goals for this semester, and I feel like I've done pretty well with it over this semester.
Yeah, it's great to hear that we've the personal goals that we put in, that we turned in on Canvas, is we've met all of them, I would say. Because for me, I would say the same thing. I've met everything, and something that I also want to use, not just in this class, but right after. Like I can apply it to my everyday life when it comes to communication towards people.
Right.
Now we've discussed the different aspects we learned from this class. Now let's get into the second segment, which is how this class changed and how we work as a group.
I feel like before this class, I would hop into a group and just do my own thing, not communicate, because I would feel like the other people were useless. Because in most cases, they were. But now, I feel like this class has given me the ability to organize those people into a hardworking group or just assign tasks, so I can just properly lead them to success,
Yeah.
For example, I remember I was working one day and I only had like 2 people on the line, and it was just me. And I was able to just put them in the perfect area so we're able to do everything just efficiently. And I was so proud when I got home. So I ate food. That's all I did. And I still think about that day. And how do you think this class has changed you when it comes to working with groups?
I think kind of what you were saying, like my prior experience to like group work. Last time I really was like working in groups was in high school, and that wasn't really the best. A prime example. I remember my sophomore year of high school. I was in advanced bio, so I think it was like Bio 2 is what it was called at the time, and it was our final like project of the semester, the whole year, and we had to do slide shows.
Right.
And I remember we were all supposed to do our own slideshow, and then we were gonna like show it. Well, they all flaked, so they weren't there last day. So I had to I half did it. Like I didn't even do their slides like 100%, but I had to like tell the teacher like I'm the only one here. So he ended up giving me an A, but that was like the worst experience I had. But it taught me a lot. Like from that to now, working with you guys and being in this group in particular and in this class, I think we all communicated very well, and I think it taught me a lot that you can be in a really, really good group, and group work can be fun as long as everybody is, knowing what they're doing. And also too, I think like one of the examples with this group is we had a group chat, which I think was really important, because I don't think we would all show up 100% like on the same page as everybody. Like we might all have our own ideas, but we were all able to communicate that to each other prior to even coming and doing the podcast. So
Yeah, we were able to tell each other what sources we're using,
yeah,
so we didn't overlap, make sure we didn't use the same quotes. We were able to send the outline in there, and if we had any questions or wanted to edit it, we all gave our inputs in. Made it really easy for us to be on the same page
yeah,
for every podcast.
Speaking of that, one thing for me is that everyone stepped up, like stepping up, just from that stepping up. And we know that there are a lot of topics that we can use, that you guys have a topic in mind, I have a topic in mind, and we all have different topics in mind. But one thing that I learned in this group is that we all came in together in one conclusion.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's a lot of topics that we have in mind differently. We all come up with one, and we've been through a lot this semester. We have problem secured experience, especially what Jared said, the sources.
Yeah.
That we might have the same sources,
Right.
but instead, everyone, all of us stepped up. Like, okay, so this is what I'm gonna do, and then this is what you guys are gonna do, in order for us to avoid any of those overlapping,
Right.
because it could result into a miscommunication.
Right.
yeah.
And with that,
I was gonna just say something
Yeah.
real quick, just to piggyback. I think one of what made the group also work well was flexibility. I remember during the third podcast, the Fast Food Wars podcast. I was gonna originally do the Chick-fil-A, but then you're like, "Hey, bro, I already work at Chick-fil-A," so I was like, "You know what? You're right. Like, cool. Like, just the flexibility and like the communication. Like, okay, not a problem, bro. Like, you got it. That makes sense. You work there. Like, all right, I'll do something else." So I just think that like our collaborative effort and our communication like worked well, and I think that's what really helped us succeed in this class. Like, we were mostly all on the same page, and if there was something, then we were able to talk it out and like come to an understanding. So I also believe that like that really helped us like exceed in this class.
and instead of arguing, we just came up with a simple solution, and we talked about it.
Yeah.
And in my case, I said that since you were the first one, it's like a first come first serve basis, so you can have it. And they said no, you can have it because you're much familiar with it. And then we came up with a solution, and then we all delivered, our podcast the entire semester really smooth, really great, I would say. Yeah, really great. And going back to the past podcast that we had, I would go to the sneaker podcast, because I think out of all the things we did, we could all agree that that's our best podcast
I would say so.
for us,
was-
especially
yeah.
topic-wise, I would say.
It was a fun podcast.
Yeah.
One thing that really struck me there is the things that I learned from all the stories that you guys shared about the specific sneaker on your guys' presentation of sneakers. And one thing that I will always remember is the Michael Jordan
Yeah.
story. When, the Jordan 1 thing, when back in his day, he can't. NBA banned him to wear those sneakers.
Yeah.
If he wears those sneakers, he's getting fined.
Right.
Like every game, he wears those.
Yeah.
And Nike themselves had Jordan's back,
Yeah.
and they will pay all the fines that the NBA will impose against
Right.
Michael Jordan. So yeah, it's really a new information that I learned.
Yeah, for sure.
Hmm
Yeah, I remember that was probably like the best podcast that we
Yeah.
did for
Yeah.
sure.
Would have been the best, but my favorite was the food podcast.
The food
Our
one,
fast food
yeah.
podcast.
The food was fun too.
Yeah, I
getting
enjoyed
to
the food.
like,
Hmm
I kind of fumbled. I didn't
It's all right.
It's all right. I mean, we still.
We
Still
picked
on
you up.
PG.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We picked you up.
The funniest part about that podcast is we had Mexican cuisine fast foods, which was a
Chipotle.
Chipotle and Taco Bell, and then we also had chicken food place,
Chicken war.
Yeah.
bro.
Chick-fil-A
Chicken
and
war.
Angry Chicks, which I don't think we've never talked about. Okay, hey, we're gonna do a chicken place
Mhm.
fast food, and then the two of you do either
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah, no,
burger
no, it's
store.
just happened that way.
It just so
Yeah.
happened. Yeah, exactly. That's the fun part about it.
Such crazy coincidence.
Yeah,
Exactly,
basically.
yeah. And yeah, now that we've talked about how this class changed our aspect or our mindset to work as a group, let's go on to the key takeaways that we will be taking with us from this class.
I think the key takeaway from this class for me was being able to find a way to like work with multiple people in a way that doesn't cause confrontation, because a lot of people have differing opinions or differing outlooks on different things or ideas and ways to manage groups. I like that I was able to like get in a random group with 4 people, hash everything out, and be able to work with you guys throughout the entire semester smoothly. We all have different ideas of how to run things, and we're able to just effectively communicate throughout the entire semester. We're all able to actively listen to each other and have good shared meaning on what we want to do for each podcast. I'm proud of that,
Yeah.
What do you think you guys are going to take with you from this podcast group?
I think one of the big things is the active listening, and then also the body language. And I've talked about that before, but I think again, like coming into this class, I didn't really know a whole lot about like the different variations of it. So I think taking that with me, I'm gonna understand more. I'll be able to like probably read people's body language a little bit better, just whether it's through like my career, work, friends, whatever. I think getting from learning the stuff in this class and looking up a lot of this stuff and reading about it, I'll be able to take that with me more than anything, because that is really, really important. Like you were talking about, Josh, and taking understanding how to read somebody's body language and whether they actually do care what you're saying or don't care what you're saying, I think is really, really vital. And it's important to not just build relationships, but friendships and just relationships in general, I think, with anybody.
Yeah, for me, I'm taking away from this class the confidence to be able to speak, in front of a group, in front of a camera. Like, it's something I've never done before. So this is confidence I'll take with me into the world, like whether it be in my personal life or at work. Who knows? The next time I'll have to be in front of a camera, Also, my work ethic. Being able to, not only collaborate with you guys and to be able to get our stuff done, whether it be outlines or new ideas for our podcast, stuff like that. Because usually, like Ryan had mentioned earlier in the podcast, like sometimes working in a group, I think we've all had bad experiences working in a group. But like all you guys have said, like our group has had a really good dynamic. We've worked well with each other. So that's something I will take with me, like the work ethic that we had in this group, to be able to take it and work in future groups. And last for me, just becoming a better speaker, whether it be using, the tools we learned here, using body posture, tone, or
Vocal variety.
Yeah.
That's a key. Yeah, just going different octaves so you're not the monotone, putting people to sleep. I think that definitely it's the 3 things I will take away from this class.
Well, first off, for me, it's also what Ryan said, is active listening, because it's really important for everyone to know what the real essence of active listening is, because it's also a sign of respect, And I know that speaking, not just in group, but just one-on-one with whoever you're talking to, there's one topic that you guys are talking about, and then one of you guys, or if not, the person that you're talking to, goes sideways, like go on a different topic, and of course, you can't avoid getting bored to whatever that person is telling you, especially that if on your side it doesn't make any sense at all. But when it comes to active listening, even though you're not into what they are saying, if you apply active listening to that conversations, I would say you will learn something new.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, that who knows that you might use it in your daily life.
Yeah.
It might be a positive impact to yourself as a communicator, as a person. And just like what I said earlier, active listening applied in our sneaker podcast. But of course, I'm into that. I'm into that topic. Of course, I love that topic that we had in our podcast. And like I said, when it comes to new informations that you can gather, like the Michael Jordan 1 shoes, where he gets fined every time he wears that, something new to me.
Right.
You know.
I think another thing I'm gonna take away from this class is the ability to use body language to show that you are actively listening. A simple nod, a little just like yeah, or just simply just paying attention by using your body language, not slouching, not crossing your arms. Like you said, respect.
Yeah.
It just shows the other person, I'm paying attention to you. I actually know what you're saying, because like you've said beforehand, you've watched someone actively change the topic smoothly. And it's very disrespectful in a way, you know?
Yeah.
You want to show the other party, yo, I care for you. You know?
Right. Because I mean, if you're not like actively listening, you're not like focused on what they're saying, like you're like slumped off, and you got your back towards them, like that's like the ultimate sign of disrespect, and like what they're saying is not important to you. So by you giving them your full attention, it's almost like at school, like when the teacher be up in front, like trying to teach the class, and then she would like yell at the class, like, "All right, everybody, give me your attention." Like it's kind of like that. Like when you give somebody your attention, you're letting them know, like, okay, what you're saying to them, like they're gonna receive it, and like that's important when you're actively listening.
And working as a group, I mean, like I mentioned earlier, that pre-podcast that we did, we all have topics in mind, like different topics. You have this topic, I have this topic that I want to share and want to have as for our next podcast. But we all came up with a solution. We all crossed that bridge and just told everybody that, hey, okay, we all agree that this is going to be our topic. How about we do that next podcast, because we're going to have more podcasts to do in this semester, not just this one. And yeah, it really struck me as a person, and something that I also want to apply after this class is when I'm working with group, I have to know each and everyone's thoughts, ideas, and then afterwards just share mine. And then in that case, we can just go into one idea, and then from there on, everything will run smooth. Like what happened in our podcast, everything runs smooth. We had sneaker podcast, we had fast food, everything went smooth.
And then even in nonverbal podcasts too.
Exactly. The first one. Yeah, I would ever forget that. Yeah.
I think like communication is very important, because, and we've talked about it before. If you don't, and preparation, I think too, for these things, and I think just there's something too that I'll take throughout life is being prepared, organized, ready to have your sources, ideas, whatever for any type of project. And I think the communication and understanding too, like understanding the person that you're working with, because if you don't really understand them as a person, like you're probably not going to be able to really work well with them, because you're not going to know like what works well with this person, like what ideas is it going to be easy to like get them to almost agree with, even if they don't, like what can, like it roughly in the ballpark ideas on what you can work with them with to be able to get anything done.
And I think that kind of goes back to what I was saying for one of my goals for this class, like the work ethic part. Like I've done outlines obviously in high school and stuff, but I think this class really like helped me hone in and like really get good at doing outlines. This is something I think I will take with me in the future, like whether I continue on like at the university or even at work, like do a quick outline for work. Okay, like this is the task that I have to do. This is like the subjects, and then here goes like the pieces to connect that. I think this is definitely a skill, like that will follow me for the rest of my life.
I like that. That's great. Yeah. And now, before we wrap things up, I want to ask your guys' favorite key moment or just memorable, just key moment in this class that you have, whether it's a group podcast that we did or way before the podcast. Watch, please give me your thoughts. Like, everyone wants to hear it.
Yeah.
My favorite was
let's
when
go,
he
Jared.
started roasting my Taco Bell pick. 'Cause he had a superior Chipotle pick, apparently.
That was pretty funny. I would say the sneaker podcast was pretty
Sneaker
cool.
podcast.
It's hard because the food podcast was really cool too.
Yeah.
The fact that we both we brought chicken
Mhm.
sandwich stuff and you guys brought taco.
Yeah,
stuff. Like, that
Mexican
was
stuff.
Mexican
that was the
food.
funniest thing ever, and like that we didn't even plan that at all.
Yeah.
It just for the people that are gonna be watching this, we did not plan that.
Yeah.
we did not plan that.
I have to agree with what Ryan said. I think for me, my top one would be the fast food podcast that we did because, it wasn't planned at all. Like, come on. We were just sharing what fast food we will be talking
Yeah.
about or share it in the next podcast. And
Yeah.
it just so happened that, hey, he got Taco Bell. He got Chipotle. He got Chick-fil-A first and then switched to Chipotle.
Yeah.
And then I said, just because I said I can do Chick-fil-A. And then,
Yeah.
of course, credits to Emmanuel here for giving me Chick-fil-A. And then afterwards, we had Ryan, who's going to be talking about Angry Chicks.
Angry Chicks, yeah.
And then in that podcast, I remember saying that this might not be a fast food talk, but instead a food wars
Yeah.
between Mexican fast foods and then chicken place
Yeah.
fast food. So
That was
that's me my top
yeah.
one for sure. And then second is of course the sneaker podcast. We had, all of us were into that
Yeah.
topic,
That was,
Yeah.
that was
And-
definitely a fun one to talk about.
Exactly.
Something we're passionate about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what about you, Manuel?
Like I said, I think my favorite probably was the food podcast.
Oh,
Just-
okay.
Yeah, just because, I had to throw them little subtle shots at Taco Bell. Chipotle is superior to Taco Bell.
You heard him. And
Fun.
one more thing about that is I remember that was a day where Chipotle was giving out BOGOs, right? And then
That's
I
right.
asked you if
Yeah.
you knew about that.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
He's
would've-
like, I have no idea.
I had no idea.
Someone could have came in and be like, "Hey man, I'm a hockey fan."
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known.
Who knows? Who would?
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. We talked about the different aspects we learned from this class, how this class changed, how we will work as a group, and of course, the key takeaways that we want to take with us from that class. And that is it all for today. Thank you for tuning in with us, and I hope you learned something new. And we will see you guys again. Once again, my name is Josh Mojica, alongside my groupmates Jared Burkett, Emmanuel Blue, and Ryan. And thank you for watching.